Montana Territory, September 1892. Dawn crept cold over the Lone Pine Ranch, casting long shadows across the dusty plains. Henry Caldwell gripped his Remington rifle with calloused hands, his 52 years etched deep into his weathered face, 3 decades scarred by loss and regret. 6 riders emerged from the morning fog, led by Victor Hargrove, the tycoon who'd clawed his way to owning half of Silver Creek and hungered for the rest, including the 20-year-old woman huddled behind Henry in a ripped wedding gown. Her name was Clara Bennett, and last night she'd been set to marry Hargrove. Instead, she'd fled to Henry, the one man who'd ever made her feel truly protected. Now Hargrove's voice sliced through the chill air. "Caldwell, hand over my bride, or we'll drag her out over your corpse." Henry's jaw clenched as Clara's breath warmed his neck, her fingers digging into his shirt. This was how feuds ignited, not with grand armies or lofty ideals, but with one man stand to shield what he cherished, even if that love teetered on the edge of forbidden. What choice would Henry make? Had he already crossed a line he couldn't uncross? Henry Caldwell hadn't always been a hollow shell, scratching out a living on 800 acres of rugged Montana land. Once he'd been Captain Henry Caldwell, Confederate cavalry, storming through Union ranks, defending homesteads from Comanche raids, and returning to a wife whose laugh lit up the room and a daughter who called him daddy. Then in 1880, a brutal blizzard swept through, claiming them both in a feverish haze. That's when Henry staked his claim on Lone Pine Ranch, not for fortune, just for endurance, rising at dawn to wrangle cattle until bone-deep fatigue chased away the nightmares. The town of Silver Creek sprouted up 8 miles east, but Henry steered clear. When he did venture in for supplies, folks muttered about the silent specter, the widower who'd quit on life but stubbornly clung to it. For years dragged by in isolation until the day Clara Bennett's wagon train hit a washed-out gully en route to California. She was 19 then, fresh from a boarding school back east, brimming with poetry and ambition. Her father ran Silver Creek's sole mercantile. Her mother lost to a riding accident when Clara was small, leaving her to blossom under her dad's watchful eye, fierce, independent, with a spirit that wouldn't bend. The wagon carried her home from visiting kin when 3 outlaws ambushed them in Rattlesnake Pass, hungry for valuables, but settling for terrorizing the passengers. Henry was tracking elk nearby when Clara's cry pierced the air. He burst onto the scene to find her cornered against the wagon, dress shredded, as the bandits leered and argued her fate. Henry didn't pause to blast from his rifle. 2 bodies slumped. The third bolted at the sight of Henry's unyielding glare, the eyes of a killer numb to remorse. As Henry helped Clara down, a spark ignited between them. She glimpsed the sorrow beneath his rugged exterior. He saw the fire in her youth, a woman emerging from girlhood. "Thank you," she murmured. Henry just nodded, escorted her to town, waved off the bounty, and vanished into the hills. But Clara couldn't shake him. She started detouring her rides near his ranch, craving sightings. Henry spotted her, but kept his distance, sensing peril in those lingering glances. One afternoon, she tied a blue ribbon to his fence post, a note tucked inside. "For saving my life may you find solace." Henry pocketed it, telling himself it was nothing. But in Montana, secrets fester like untended wounds, and desires don't stay dormant forever. Victor Hargrove stormed into Silver Creek like a prairie fire subtle at first, then all-consuming. At 47, flush from mining strikes and timber deals, he flashed easy grins and preached growth and wealth. Townsfolk smelled progress. They missed the shark beneath. Hargrove's playbook was ruthless. Extend loans to desperate farmers and shopkeepers. then crush them under escalating rates. Miss a payment? He sees your spread. In 18 months, he controlled a quarter of the valley. Then he targeted the Bennett Mercantile. Thomas Bennett was a straight shooter in a crooked game. When locusts ravaged crops, he floated credit. When floods hit, he postponed collections. Noble, sure, but suicidal for business. Hargrove swooped in with a partnership fancy talk for a trap. The fine print buried ruinous clauses, and soon the store teetered on collapse. Bennett faced ruin or Hargrove's ultimatum: wed his daughter to wipe the slate clean. She's barely 20, Bennett begged. Old enough to grasp obligation, Hargrove sneered. Meanwhile, Clara had bloomed into a stunner chestnut locks that gleamed in the sun, green eyes sharp as emeralds, curves that turned heads and stirred whispers. But her thoughts fixated on one man, the recluse at Lone Pine. She'd ridden by his land countless times, once catching him shoeing horses, shirt unbuttoned, sinews rippling under tan skin. She'd hidden in the brush, pulse thundering, until he sensed her and she spurred away. She was tumoring for a man twice her age, a ghost haunted by ghosts. Age be damned, the heart doesn't consult calendars. When her father broke the engagement news, Clara's world shattered. I refuse, she snapped. You must, he choked, for the family, the town. Hargrove would erase the debts, save the mercantile. And me? What about my life? Bennett averted his eyes. You'll adapt. But some fates demand rebellion, even at the cost of everything. The wedding loomed for September 14th, 1892, lavish, with Hargrove footing imported whiskey, a gown from New York, orchids from the coast. His crowning conquest, the Bennett legacy and Silver Creek's fairest prize. Clara spent the eve barricaded in her room, her riding gear confiscated, a watchman at the door. For your safety, her father claimed. That night, Hargrove barged in, shooing the guard. Clara stood by the window in her shift, arms folded, gaze defiant. Darling Clara, he purred, eyes raking her form, the dip of her hips, the rise of her bosom under thin fabric, her unyielding jaw. Tomorrow, you're Mrs. Victor Hargrove. My body, maybe, she retorted, but never my soul. He edged closer. Souls can be tamed, reshaped. I'm an expert instructor. Revulsion twisted her gut, this predator's paws on her, his bulk smothering, his lessons in submission. You'll find me a tough pupil, she warned. Hargrove chuckled. That's the thrill, taming the untamed. He departed, leaving dread thick as smoke. Clara bided her time till midnight. The house is silent, the guard snoring. She shed her shift, donned hidden breeches, blouse, and boots reclaiming her wild self. The window creaked open. The pine branch held firm. Earth cushioned her drop. Her mare, Starlight, stood ready in the barn. Clara, Silver Creek's top rider, tore through the night toward the man who'd ignited her spark. But refuge, like passion, exacts a toll sometimes in blood. Henry heard the gallop at 1 a.m., snatching his Remington and peering out. A slight rider, expert in the saddle, his chest tightened, recognizing the horse. Clara Bennett leaped down in his yard, wedding dress torn from the scramble, moonlight highlighting her tousled hair, flushed face, resolute stare. Clara, he swung the door wide, but kept the rifle up. What in God's name? I couldn't wed him, her voice cracked. Won't. Henry lowered the gun, stepped out. She trembled not from cold, but terror and resolve. Your pa'll be frantic. My pa traded me like livestock to bail out his store. Flames danced in her eyes. And you? Here. Nowhere else feels right. No one else I trust. Henry's mouth went dry. Up close, her scent lavender and resolve hit him. He noted her racing pulse, recalled her gaze that day at the wagon, like he was redeemable. I can't aid this. It's improper. What's improper is chaining me to a monster treating me like chattel. She inched nearer. I'm 32 years your junior. I've lost a wife and child. I get a tongues will wag. Let him. Her palm pressed his chest. Henry, I've fixated on you since that rescue. Ridden by here, dreaming of your touch. I sense you feel a draw, the stares when you think I'm gone. Henry's restraint was a fraying rope years of solitude, grief, months eyeing this girl transform into a force, knowing he shouldn't crave her. The rope snapped. His hands gripped her waist. She yielded, lips parting. Soft, urgent, flavored with defiance and yearning. They stumbled indoors, door slamming, her fingers fumbling his buttons as he kissed her throat. Certain, he rasped. Absolutely. Her gown's fasteners yielded under trembling hands, exposing smooth skin, the lace of her bodice. Henry hoisted her to the bedroom, laying her on the patchwork his late wife had quilted, then halted. Can't. Wrong. Clara propped up, hair disheveled, bodice askew. Wrong is society dictating a grown woman can't pick her love. Wrong is vipers like Hargrove owning souls. She pulled him close. I pick you, Henry Caldwell. This. Lips collided tender, then ravenous. Henry's touch revered her form like sacred ground, desperate yet awed. Clara's hands undid his belt, her caress igniting him. Shirt shed, bodice followed flesh to flesh, pulses sinking. Please, she breathed. No more waiting. Henry's barriers crumbled, ties loosened, frantic to unite, to claim mutual choice. Inches from consummation, thunderous hooves froze him. What? Clara tensed. They tracked you. Hargrove's bellow echoed. Caldwell. She's mine in or out. Clara clutched the sheet, terror-wide eyes. They teetered on bliss. Henry dressed swiftly, soldier mode engaged. Stay put. Whatever unfolds, don't emerge. Henry, he kissed her brow. If I fall, take my stallion, head to Idaho. Don't look back. I'm not abandoning you. You must. His gaze hardened, assessing threats. Caring for me invites pain. But some pains merit the gamble. Some battles, once ignited, demand resolution. Dawn gilded Lone Pine as Victor Hargrove and his half-dozen enforcers encircled the cabin. Henry emerged on the porch, Remington steady. He'd survived worse in the war, but the stakes soar now. Hargrove, he shouted, you're on my land, retrieving stolen goods. Hargrove lounged astride like royalty. My fiancées wandered astray. She chose freely. She's 20 muddled. Hargrove's smirk chilled. But you exploited that. Henry's trigger finger itched. Watch your tongue. Or what? Murder joins your sins. The riders fanned out, palms hovering over holsters. Henry pegged them. Mercenaries, killers for hire with zero qualms. Last chance, release her. I overlook this. Keep her, and Montana learns your true colors. Which are? The predator preying on grief to corrupt the pure. Henry descended the steps 6-1. In cavalry days, he'd summon aid. Today, he was it. She's no innocent, and not yours. Hargrove's facade splintered. I bought that girl Farrah Pa, owes me the world. Collect from him. After you. A thug drew. Henry's shot fell to mid-saddle. Pandemonium Henry dove behind a trough, as lead shredded wood. 5 remained, plus Hargrove. 1 flanked left. Henry's blast dropped him. 4. They hunkered behind outbuildings, pinning him. Amid the barrage, Clara's shriek glass shattered in the bedroom. She was hit. Fury surged, the primal rage that fueled Gettysburg echoes. Henry charged the shed, sheltering 2. Rifle roaring, both crumpled. 2 left, Hargrove aside. Reloading behind bales, war-honed precision shone. 1 exposed himself. Henry's round pierced true. The last bolted for his mount. Henry spared him, bullets for worthier foes. Hargrove dismounted, using his horse as a shield, fancy derringer gleaming. "Done, Hargrove," Henry called. "Only when I decree." Hargrove fired erratically. Henry's chamber clicked empty. Hargrove's graze seared Henry's arm, toppling him, rifle skidding. Hargrove loomed, weapon cocked. 32 years senior. Let's test that. Henry surged with his concealed Navy revolver. Dual blasts Hargrove's missed. Henry struck center. The magnate wavered, shock erasing smugness, then thudded down like timber. Henry rose, arm bleeding rivers, yard strewn with carnage, acrid smoke lingering. The fleeing gunman vanished horizon-bound. "Henry!" Clara dashed out, half-clad, catching him as his knees buckled. "How bad?" She probed the gash. "Survived nastier." But pallor and ragged breath betrayed. She hauled him inside, ripping bandages, hands steady despite tremors. "Don't you die on me," Henry Caldwell. Not intending, he grinned faintly. "Got reasons to stick around. But victory's just the start in Montana. Reckoning wears many masks, and the toughest skirmish is earning your own redemption." Silver Creek folk arrived by midday, lured by gunfire tales. They discovered Hargrove sprawled amid his dead thugs, Henry bandaged but breathing, Clara fiercely guarding him. Thomas Bennett rode with them, seeing his daughter hair wild, gown wrecked, loyalty fierce he grasped some bonds defy undoing. "Dad," Clara said softly, "I'm staying." Bennett eyed the bodies, Henry's wound, her unyielding poise. "I see." Sheriff Ellis demanded accounts. Townspeople craved details. But rifling Hargrove's saddlebags unearthed more than gossip. A cache of doctored ledgers, phony deeds, proof of widespread swindles bleeding the valley dry. "Hargrove fleeced us all," Ellis declared. Henry's actions? Self-defense. Whispers about the Lone Pine loner, shift-he'd safeguarded their own, unmasked the wolf. Doc Wilkins stitched Henry's arm, deeming him mendable. "Lucky shot inch deeper, you be gone." "Ain't luck," Henry muttered, eyes on Clara. "It's having stakes worth the fight. Recovery demands time, love, forbearance. Hidden scars linger longest." 7 months on, frost blanketed the Montana flats. Lone Pine humstock to herd, fences to mend, a shared existence unfolding. Henry mended fully, though his arm twinged pre-snow. Clara embraced ranch life, mastering veterinary basics and ledgers. They wed on a crisp April Wednesday in 1893, with intimate vows, with Thomas Bennett beaming as he gave her away. No extravagance, just a plain ivory dress that stole Henry's breath. "Do you, Clara Bennett, take this man?" "I do," she interjected. "Do you, Henry Caldwell?" "I do," firm as granite. Their honeymoon night fulfilled the thwarted promise tender, yet tempestuous, lingering and urgent, holy and wholly passionate. Clara's patience amplified every caress. They loved by hearth glow, with blizzards raging outside, and tomorrows vast as the frontier. Henry mapped her like treasured terrain, murmuring her name in reverence. After, tangled and sated, "Regrets? Taking me in, battling for this?" Clara asked. Henry pondered his first family in the graveyard. The empty years then met her gaze, vibrant with love for a scarred veteran. None. Beyond, winds whipped the prairies. Within, 2 souls, defying odds, forged a legacy proving love defies timelines, ages, and conventions. The West thrived on such rebels, and Henry Caldwell and Clara's tale became Silver Creek folklore, affirming that hearts often outsmart heads in the quest for fulfillment. What do you think of this story? Drop a comment below, sharing your taquito you side with Clara's bold choice. or see red flags in the age gap? Spill your thoughts. I'd love to hear your stance.